Hello everyone. Imagine being in a packed church service, voices lifted in praise, when suddenly the unthinkable happens. Gospel superstar Deitrick Haddon, at just 52 years old, collapses before everyone's eyes. The room falls silent, prayers break out, and within moments, whispers turn into headlines. What happened to Deitrick Haddon? His wife has now spoken out, shedding light on the terrifying moment that left fans across the world in shock. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story about a health scare, it's a wake-up call that will leave you speechless. But what unfolded during this highly anticipated event was something no one could have predicted. Midway through his performance, the joyful energy that had filled the arena gave way to confusion, shock, and fear. What should have been a triumphant night for Deitrick Haddon became one of the most unsettling moments in recent gospel history. At the start, everything seemed perfect. The crowd roared with joy as the lights dimmed and Haddon stepped onto the stage, radiating his usual confidence and charm. With his trademark smile, he greeted fans and launched into the opening songs. The atmosphere was electric, hands clapping, voices raised in unison, phones recording every second of the experience. For the first few numbers, it was gospel music at its finest, the kind of performance that reminded everyone why Deitrick Haddon had become one of the most beloved figures in the genre. Then something shifted. At first, it was subtle, just a slower step, a hesitation in his usual energy. Observant fans noticed Deitrick Haddon wasn't moving with his trademark confidence. His gestures lacked their usual precision, and when he clutched his side mid-song, a ripple of unease swept through the audience. Some thought it might be a dramatic pause, a classic moment of showmanship to intensify the worship experience. But as seconds stretched on, the truth became undeniable. This wasn't performance, it was a crisis. Within moments, security stormed the stage, their urgency silencing the once roaring arena. The joyful noise collapsed into an almost sacred hush, as thousands of eyes locked on the sight of their beloved gospel star struggling just to remain upright. Haddon's body language told the story. His weakness was visible, his disorientation clear. Security flanked him on both sides, guiding him off stage. Some eyewitnesses later claimed he was even carried for part of the way, his legs unable to support him. That single image, a superstar suddenly fragile, left the audience shaken to its core. Gasps echoed across the arena. Shouts of concern turned into audible prayers. Some fans cried, others reached for their phones to record, and in a matter of minutes, clips of the gospel icon's sudden collapse were already spreading across social media platforms. By the time the stage lights dimmed and the band stopped playing, hashtags about Haddon's condition were beginning to trend, sending waves of speculation far beyond the concert hall. Backstage, the scene was just as chaotic. Paramedics and staff members worked quickly, assessing his condition. Witnesses described Haddon as pale, disoriented, and struggling to speak clearly. His team moved with urgency, offering water, monitoring his vital signs, and ensuring that medical professionals took control. While some staff believed it could be fatigue or dehydration, others whispered about more serious possibilities. The uncertainty only added to the tension. Inside the arena, fans waited in stunned silence. Some held hands and prayed together. Others quietly wept, and a few broke into worship songs, hoping their faith would carry Deitrick Haddon through the crisis. The band, unsure how to continue, paused their instruments, leaving only the hum of anxious voices filling the space. For many attendees, it was the first time they had seen their beloved gospel leader so vulnerable. Almost immediately, reports began to conflict. Some sources close to the production suggested that Haddon had experienced a spike in blood pressure. Others insisted it was exhaustion, pointing to his grueling tour schedule and the countless demands on his time. What united all accounts, however, was the sense that this was serious. Fans who had come to celebrate suddenly found themselves united in prayer and worry for a man who had given so much to them through music and ministry. On social media, the incident exploded. Clips of the collapse circulated with captions of concern, prayers, and in some cases, wild speculation. Eyewitnesses described what they had seen backstage, fueling rumors that ranged from dehydration to an undisclosed medical condition. Fans pored over every second of video footage, analyzing his movements, his posture, and even the facial expressions of the security team. Some pointed to past interviews in which Haddon admitted feeling overworked and exhausted in recent months, suggesting that the demands of performing had finally taken their toll. Amid the storm of speculation, other voices began to emerge. Fellow gospel artists, church leaders, and public figures posted messages of prayer and support. Congregations around the country lifted his name in prayer during services, and choirs dedicated songs to him. The incident had struck not just his fans but the broader gospel community, which recognized how much Haddon had poured into his craft and how deeply he had impacted lives. Days passed before clarity arrived. An official statement from Deitrick Haddon's management was finally released, confirming that he had suffered a sudden health complication on stage. The statement reassured fans that he was under medical supervision and in stable condition, resting and following his doctor's advice. While many found comfort in the announcement, others couldn't help but notice the lack of specific details. What exactly had caused the collapse? Would this affect his ability to perform again? Insiders hinted that doctors had advised him to slow down, perhaps even reconsider the intensity of his touring schedule. Such a suggestion sent shockwaves through fans, who had grown accustomed to Haddon's vibrant live shows. Could this really mark a turning point in his career? Would audiences see fewer performances from one of gospel's most electrifying artists? Just when speculation seemed unstoppable, Deitrick Haddon himself broke his silence in a heartfelt video. Posted across his social media platforms, he appeared calm yet reflective, offering fans a glimpse into his mindset after the terrifying incident. He began by thanking God, his family, his medical team, and the countless fans who had lifted him up in prayer. He confirmed that he had indeed suffered a health complication during the concert, though he declined to give specifics. Instead, he focused on the lesson the experience had taught him: the importance of self-care, balance, and listening to one's body. Life is precious, he said, and even though I love what I do, I've learned that we must honor the bodies God has given us and take time to rest when needed. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Thousands of comments flooded in, with fans expressing relief, gratitude, and love. Many admitted that watching him struggle on stage had been one of the most emotional moments they had ever experienced as gospel supporters. Hearing his voice again brought comfort and reassurance, turning fear into hope. But beyond reassurance, Haddon's words carried a powerful reminder. Even the strongest leaders are human. Even the most inspiring performers face limits. And sometimes, the greatest act of faith is not pushing through pain, but acknowledging vulnerability and trusting in God's timing. The incident became more than just a story about one man's health scare. It evolved into a moment of collective reflection across the gospel world. Churches held prayer circles, fans shared testimonies of how Haddon's music had changed their lives, and conversations about the importance of rest and self-care began to spread. Haddon had always been admired for his music and ministry, but now he was being admired for his openness, humility, and humanity. By the end of his message, Deitrick Haddon looked into the camera and smiled, his voice steady with determination. "I'm not done yet," he declared, "but I am learning to pace myself, to honor the journey God has given me, and to continue serving in a way that is sustainable for my health and my ministry." Those words resonated far beyond the gospel stage. They spoke to anyone who had ever pushed themselves too hard, anyone who had ignored the signals their body was sending, and anyone who needed a reminder that strength is found not only in perseverance, but in balance. For fans, the night of the collapse will never be forgotten, but neither will the lesson it carried. What began as a shocking health scare became a defining moment in Deitrick Haddon's journey, not as the night he fell, but as the night he showed his humanity and reminded us all of the fragile balance between passion and well-being. In the days that followed, the gospel community continued to rally around him. His music was celebrated, his ministry honored, and his words replayed as both comfort and inspiration. Fans recognized that while they loved seeing him on stage, they loved him more as a person, and they were ready to support him not just in performance, but in recovery. And that's the incredible story of Deitrick Haddon's onstage scare and powerful message of faith and resilience. If his journey inspired you, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who need encouragement, and subscribe for more powerful stories. Together, let's keep celebrating faith, music, and the power of community. Thanks for watching.